Yes, good evening. This is to the Dover Community Center Building Committee meeting of June 9th, 2025. My name is Dick Malcolm and I'm the chair of the building committee. Following the guidance issued by the state in 2020 regarding the open meeting law, this public meeting will be held remotely, and individuals wishing to participate may do so by utilizing Zoom video conference technology. To join the meeting by video conferencing using a computer, tablet, or phone, please refer to the Town of Dover website under meetings and agendas. And this meeting is being recorded. I'll start with a roll call of committee members present. David Billings,
Yes.
Ruth Townsend,
Yes.
and I don't see Luciana. Just checking. Okay. So we have three of us, so that gives us a quorum. All right, first order of business is approval of our meeting minutes from the meeting of May 12th, 2025. Is there any discussion on those meeting minutes? If not, then I move that that the meeting minutes of May 12th, 2025, be approved. Are you in favor? David?
Want a second?
Excuse me, is there a second? Thank you, David.
Yep.
Okay, now that there is a second, I will do a roll call of the committee members. Are you in favor? David?
Yes.
Ruth?
Yes.
And I am a yes as well. So those meeting minutes are approved. Next is to start going over the construction progress and schedule. And for that, I will turn that over to Collier's project leaders, the owner's project manager, and specifically to Igley.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you very much, Dick. Just sharing my screen here with a typical presentation as as we've been doing here. So just run through the May progress, and a lot of the progress has mainly been on the exterior side of the building. One big item that we do want to highlight at the beginning of this is TCO has been issued, and it's been issued as of May 13th, excuse me. So a lot of the construction work is actually specifically on the exterior side that's been happening. On the interior side, it's mainly just punch list items that the contractor is working through at the moment. So all the site trees and shrubs have been installed. The site fencing is still in progress. We're finalizing that at the moment. The swing set area has been completed, and phase 1 of the gravity wall has been installed. Final paving of phase 1 has also been completed, and line striping is still ongoing. It should be wrapped up as of today, but weren't able.
No, none of it's done.
Okay. We were told as of Friday they should have been doing line striping, but we'll verify that.
It's not even laid out.
Got it. Okay. The construction perimeter fence has been removed except for where the gravity wall area is on the Whiting Road side. And then on the interior of the building, we're just working through punch list items. So nothing really too specific. I'm happy to dive into specifics if anybody has any questions, but that's really all that's remaining at the moment on the interior side. So as I said, TCO has been issued as of 5/13 for 30 days, and that date is coming up to be renewed or apply for full completion by M. O'Connor. And then punch list completion and back punch is upcoming. We in the process of getting that completed. And then obviously gravity wall phase 2 install. We're expecting pricing this week for the remainder of that gravity wall. So as soon as we get that, we'll review it and share it with the committee. Fencing completion also expected to be wrapped up in the month of June. And then obviously landscaping final completion, I'm sure we'll be talking about a little bit later on in the meeting, but expecting at least portions of this to be wrapped up in the month of June. And then throughout this closeout process, security, AV, generator, HVAC, and lighting control trainings have been completed with the owner's crew. So, yep. Is there any questions on the construction progress?
Has substantial completion been achieved?
So TCO has been issued.
That's
Yeah,
different from substantial completion.
Yeah, so substantial completion, we have not achieved it at the moment.
Okay, so there's still not a contractual substantial completion.
Correct. Correct.
Okay,
Igley, what's the, as far as the interior punch list and back punch, when's that scheduled to be completed?
So I've got it for June 20th, Dick, expecting that to be wrapped up on the interior side.
have we monetized it yet?
I don't believe we have. Katie, I don't know if yeah,
We have not. We are still waiting for the punch list to be returned to us in order to do our back punch. So at
Okay.
this point, it's been out for a couple of months. We're waiting for the items to be checked or addressed or, discussed. We're still waiting for that.
Okay. So we expect it before the next rec.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Any other-
Can we get into landscaping, or do you have something later on?
Yeah, I mean, we can get into it. I've got some just some progress pictures that we
Why don't you go through those quickly?
Yeah, I'll just run through these, obviously just some prep on the site for paving. Not really a ton of progress pics. Obviously that we've shared a lot of the pictures on the inside. So mainly on the exterior side. So landscaping, all the shrubs have been installed. Some of the interior signage has been installed. We're still working through some of that. And the signage company had some questions as of last week. So they're still finalizing those items, but a good portion of the signage has been installed. All the loom has been installed, mulch throughout the site, and then just some pictures of the final paving down here. And I believe we had the swing set as well.
Yes, it's all done.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it as far as site photos. Not a ton of changes from the last meeting, other than the exterior side. And then I'm happy to get into the construction schedule, but sort of like we discussed. So I've got this as substantial completion here, but this should be TCO issued as of 13th of May.
Mhm.
Punch list and back punch 20th of June. Expecting this to be wrapped up by 20th of June. TBD for staff move-in. And then landscaping complete. I've got it as 30th of June. It's an estimate at the moment. Obviously, we're going to be discussing the lawn and things like that. So this date may change, but final paving, expecting it to be, well, it's wrapped up as of 6th of June for phase 1, and then the retaining wall expecting it to be wrapped up by the 30th of June. And obviously C of O TBD. So that's it as far as construction progress and schedule. Happy to go through the delay claim. David, I know you and I had a bit of a back and forth on this, which was super helpful. Thank you very much for that.
Okay. It's more just getting the front cover of the rec right. More than
No,
anything
understood. We'll do some digging on that. We'll get it.
All right.
But yeah, so these numbers may change, but these are the numbers that I had on the pay app that I shared with you, which was 20. So what?
Okay, then if we can get into really the side issues. First, let's
Yep.
talk about the retaining wall. What's going on with that?
Yeah, so a CCD was issued to continue with the shop drawing process on the retaining wall, as we discussed at the last meeting. M. O'Connor's pricing is in the process of getting those shop drawings to us and also sending us the difference in pricing for the block install.
What is the difference between the block that they have and what's being proposed? And I guess we're only talking about a 4-foot wall here.
Correct. Igley, I'm going to interrupt for a second if you don't mind.
Yeah,
So
thanks, Katie.
it's a gravity wall. It's not a full retaining wall. And I'll
Yeah.
also say we did get the MOCC did issue us the shop drawings at the end of last week, so we have them right now. So we've gone through them. Our civil engineer is reviewing them as well. the way the retaining block wall is the scope is owned, it's delegated design. So the designer, the manufacturer usually hires a structural engineer to do the calculations, to do the shop drawings, and certify that it's engineered. So we have that now in our court. The difference in the block is that we had several blocks as basis of design or equals. The one that it was revised to is one that allows the wall to be shallower, because the gravity wall block is a gravity wall, it's not a retaining wall, but we also have a tall opaque wooden fence. So the forces from that fence, from that, required a very deep block. So it was, the block was 5 feet deep, and then adding that in, that was eating into the driveway aisle space.
It was
So
how deep?
5 feet.
Just to support a fence?
Yes, so it has to do, so the wind loading here in our site is 110 miles per hour. And so having a wooden, an opaque fence, not a chain link fence or something where air is moving through, the wind loads are very high. And so it needs a very deep, effectively it's a footer, that's what's supporting it. So the block that we are reviewing now is a shallower 39 inches. It is as tight as we can get it to still stick within the obviously existing narrow area based on, going past the 1910 building. And that's what we coordinated with the fire department and with the turning apparatus to make sure that the trucks can still have free movement through there. So it's approximately 4 feet of block and then some
yeah.
rock and retaining wall. But in summary, we have the shop drawings right now, as do our consultants. So we're reviewing them. We're expecting to get them back to MOCC tomorrow.
All right, and they think it's 60 days to get the block
So
the
block-
installed?
I think that is reasonable.
Or
The block,
30 days.
we have coordinated with the manufacturer. We know that the majority of the block is in stock. The top
Okay.
pieces do have to be fabricated, but it's in Massachusetts.
Okay,
So is M O'Connor, are they working on now that you're gonna release the shops?
Mhm.
Then what, they need to confirm pricing or develop a formalized PCO on this?
I believe so, yes. So they have been released for the shop drawings. That's what we have. I think the PCO I believe that that's what they're working on to close that out.
all right,
Okay.
so they got the cost of the block and the delay claim.
Mhm.
Because it was a change in block design.
Correct.
All right. Now let's go to what's going on with the lawn.
Yeah, so with the lawn, so I know we've kind of had a bit of a back and forth on getting some pricing on sod versus hydroseed.
Why is there a discussion? The drawings and specs are very clear at sod. Why is there a discussion?
The discussion here, David, is that this isn't the ideal time to lay sod due to
No,
heat
yeah.
and
it's
water constraints for the town. So the hydro seed takes less water. So that's what kind of stemmed this whole conversation, and hydro seed's a little cheaper. Spec zone sod. So we were
So
always pushing
is this a
for sod.
request from the town? I'm trying to understand who asked this question. Why is sod not already installed?
Well,
we were asked to price some of these options by the town to just to see what the pricing was difference between sod and hydroseed.
But the reason why the sod, the question David, I think, was asking was why why was the sod not installed? And I think the
It
answer
needed
is
to have been installed by June 1st. Did the town ask the contractor to look at alternates? Because that was not brought up by anyone from this building committee. I think we were pretty insistent on sod last meeting.
We, during our course of conversations, after the window had been, we basically missed the window for putting in the sod because of M. O'Connor's schedule. I asked the question, if at this point, we're going to be holding off until the next planting season, curiosity question was, if we did change to hydroseed, how much would we save? And that's what
You get 10 cents on the dollar.
that's what we found out.
Yeah, no. No, you do not
But-
want, hydroseed will never get established there. You'll never get a lawn, ever.
But that's not the reason why the sod never got installed originally.
Right, that's what I'm saying. This delay is by O'Connell.
Yeah, yes.
Unless you have something in writing saying the town is saying, do not put in sod, we want to look at an alternate. That sod should have been put in a month ago.
Nothing came from our end, David, that I'm aware of.
Okay,
so-
thank you, Dave. Because I would be very angry. All right, but yeah, now we gotta wait until August. At the
Yeah,
soonest.
August 15th, I believe the window opens back up again.
Yeah, they blew it by a week.
Yeah.
They had a nice, they had a nice May to put it down.
Yeah. Yep. Agreed.
So how are we gonna deal with that? What's the plan to keeping people from walking across the dirt?
So I know in the specs it calls for some 4-foot, I believe, scrim, to be installed around it. That's probably going to be the.
So we're going back to a fence.
Yeah, essentially.
They took down a construction fence and now we're gonna put up a construction fence.
The 4-foot fence goes up when the sod gets installed to protect the sod. At least that's how I read the spec. In the meantime, I don't believe there's any fencing that's going to be in place over the course of the summer.
That
don't believe
doesn't
so.
make any sense. Usually you put like a snow fence at most around a sod just to keep people off. Usually just some caution tape. You only need to keep off it for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Because it's just going to turn into weeds and dust, and what's going to keep the dust down for everyone all summer long?
We'd have to discuss it with them, O'Connor, at our progress meeting tomorrow.
Yeah, no, this is, you can't just leave it. It's just gonna be weeds and look like crap. We're supposed to have a finished building. I mean, you can get sod, it's just, I would have an extended warranty period on it. And I put sod down in July,
Without water?
no, they gotta water it. They gotta maintain it until at least one growing season. But it's gonna cost them a lot more money to deal with the weeds and dust control and access control and everything else.
Is it reasonable to ask M. O'Connor to put the sod down and water it?
They
That's
own
what they own.
They own.
They own 60 days of watering it until it's established.
Or until it's 60 is a minimum, or
Yep.
until it's established and accepted.
That's how the spec is written, correct?
But that
So
was with a June 1st start date.
The,
that
as soon
was,
as it's
that was an end
as soon
date.
as as soon as it's laid down, they own that 60 days.
But my point is, if it's in the spring when you're getting lots of frequent rain, that's one thing. But doing it in the middle of July and August is completely different.
I don't disagree. I'm just saying there are options. That, obviously it's going to take longer than 60 days to establish and be accepted. It may be October before it's accepted. But they got to come up with a plan. They just can't leave it.
David, you bring up a great point because it's just going to become a field of weeds and
Yeah.
mud.
Dust for the entire center of town is going to be a dust bowl. It's going to blow all over the place. I mean, they put down nice loam and it's just gonna dry out and blow away.
David, we'll ask at our progress meeting tomorrow. We'll get you an update.
Now, also note that the plans have this kind of triangle on the corner of Center and Springdale. That according to the plans is outside the property line, but it's not. The property line is sidewalk. It's actually the curb. So I need the landscape architects to relook at their planning plans and fix this. It's gonna add some money, but we can't leave that corner just the way it is.
Katie, do you want to share that with Arcadis?
Yeah, absolutely. David, I want to make sure I heard you correctly. So basically there's a kind of a triangle at the corner of Springdale and
Yeah, look on
Center.
L103.
Okay, yeah, it's in the area around the
Yeah,
existing trees.
it's kind of the plan shows a property line curving around, but
Mhm.
no, it follows the curb line.
Okay, yep, I
No,
can see
the
it.
contractor has left that whole corner kind of weeds, thinking that he doesn't own it, and technically he doesn't.
I'm following you. Okay.
So we need to fix it.
Going the other direction, I don't know if anyone on the committee was sent the pictures from the resident who took pictures of the flooding.
Yeah,
And-
David, I'm gonna interrupt for a second because let's talk about that a little later, but I do want to just
Sure,
kind of keep our eye on the ball here on the lawn.
sorry, go ahead.
As a building committee, I mean, right now we have in the contract docs, they're supposed to put the sod down. They
Mhm.
can, I assume we can direct them to, there's been back and forth, the date has gone by for them to put down the sod or hydroseed per specs, but we can, I'm assuming, Katie, that can be, right? I mean, we can make a decision to say, no, we still want to put down the sod in July, or, excuse me, in June.
So,
Well,
I think we've said a couple things, but the, the 60 days warranty period is the minimum, or until accepted by the owner. Currently, so basically right now we're in the window where it would not be recommended to plant the sod. So I would put it to say the recommendation is for starting April 15th, sorry, excuse me, August 15th, which is when the sod
Mhm.
window opens back up again, plus 60 days gets you to the middle of October.
Yeah.
I would say at the contractor's discretion, if they were proposing to install it now, say sometime in June, that the 6 plus 60 days minimum, we would point to the minimum part there, because planting now is less than ideal. These are less than ideal conditions. So I would expect a much longer warranty time. And that's where I'm gonna go back to, if August 15 plus 60 is basically mid-October, I think we would need a warranty time through the middle of October, regardless of when the start time is.
yeah,
Unless if it starts later in September or October. But I would say that's the minimum that we should be anticipating. Because this is one of those things where we often say, at the contractor's discretion, you may elect to do something slightly different than what's owned, but there's additional risk and responsibility on your part to make it work for your schedule.
So it's
Now,
not.
did I answer your
agree.
question, Dick?
Yes, I just, so it's not, what I'm hearing is it's not from the landscape architect, it's not recommended to install sod at this time of year now.
Correct.
And to wait to, the middle of August 15th, I think is what they were saying.
Correct, yes.
Okay, so next, so if we're not gonna do the sod, now I'm speaking to David's points, what are we need to press M. O'Connor then, or Colliers needs to press M. O'Connor on what they're gonna do about dust control.
So Dick, I don't remember if you recall, we talked about shooting binder without any seed. So essentially it would just be hydro seed without seed, but it would be the additive of the binder, which is more or less a top coat that would
Yeah.
lock in, the dust control aspect of it. But that was one idea that was floated around.
Thank you, Trey. That's right. I recall that. And then, so that is one strategy to deal with it. And then the follow-up question to that, of course, is that would that come at a cost or not to the town?
That's a question I'd have to ask M. O'Connor. I'm assuming the answer to that question, Dick, would be yes.
Even though they're the ones that missed the date.
We could push back on it, absolutely. I mean, but they're gonna fight back too. So I think we have a leg to stand on. I mean, realistically, they should have been completed and out of there by now. We're hitting
Yes,
them with
in many ways.
delay claims. They've got the hint. They know what's going on. They need to know that they need to get out of there. So we have a leg to stand on, Dick.
Okay, so just to make sure we're clear on our path forward with this,
now they could propose something at no cost too. Like they could have the water. The guy could water it every day. But again, now we're talking about additional water. It's a slippery slope.
well, the water's is a huge cost issue
Yeah.
because they have to truck in the water, and they got to set up storage tanks on site, and some of the gallons that are going to be required for whatever is down. It sounded like a lot.
It is.
A lot. Okay.
Well, they can use the water in the building. I mean, it's going to be run on sprinklers, and what else they're going to do? That was going to happen anyway.
They were talking about setting up storage, a water storage tank or truck.
Okay. I mean, I guess you could do it, but that's.
Can I make a comment?
Please, Carl.
There you go.
The reason why they had to bring the trucks in was because of the water band. I know the state we're meeting today. I have not looked at the results.
It's been
So
lifted.
So it's been lifted. So they could use the water from Aquarian, but they're gonna have to pay for the water to water their grass. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was like 11,000 gallons of water for an extended period of time. So that would eliminate the trucks coming in. And if the ban is lifted, the town will lift their restriction. It was all due to the state. So if it's been lifted and they're willing to pay for the water going through the water meter, I don't see a problem to set up sprinklers. And they can just keep the bill going on the contractor for water.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out a way of doing that. But
It'd be the same as like the Eversource bill for the contractor using utilities.
Yeah.
Well,
But yeah.
they should be made aware of the rate because it's not cheap.
Yeah,
Yes, I
and
know.
Carl's 11,000 gallons. We're at 110,000 gallons a week to keep the sod from dying, more or less.
mm,
Is it 11,000 gallons a day?
More or less, yeah. We got
Oh.
55,000 square feet of lawn here. This is bigger than a football field.
no, yeah. But
But I mean, that's what Jay was recommending, who's the landscape contractor, with my conversations with him.
Okay, so the plan moving forward then would be what for Colliers to find out from M. O'Connor the strategies for dust control. They're being held responsible for that, and they would be responsible for the cost of the water if any of these strategies involve watering. Am I understanding this correctly?
Yep.
Yep, you got it, Dick.
Does that make sense, David and Ruth?
Yeah, I mean, again, we gotta push them to finish this thing.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so before we get off, anything else on the lawn before we move on from that topic? Before I,
Just one comment, Dick.
yeah,
I've had numerous questions asked about that little triangle at the set of lights. If they were
Yeah.
gonna leave it like that
No, we can't.
from residents. Just a heads up.
yeah, okay, thank you. Yeah, David brought that up also. So
Yes.
thank you both for bringing
Yeah,
that
you really
up.
don't notice until the fence came down, then you're going, what's going
Yes.
on?
Yep.
Okay. All right, okay, David Haviland, I interrupted you as you were making a comment, so I'm sorry. I just wanted
No,
to.
no, you should have interrupted me. I thought you guys were done, so my apologies. But there was a resident with all the heavy rain, since we're talking about dust. The opposite occurred,
Yep.
and there were silt covers on all the drainage systems. And so there was a lot of water backup in the sidewalk areas as well as some of the grounds.
Yeah,
And the only comment is, of course, the silt covers need to be removed for the system to work properly, but we need to test that under a heavy rain before we accept that whole system because the pictures were pretty draconian, but again, it had silt covers on them, so I don't know what the system will do without them.
Can I
well, it seems
comment
to have
on
dried
that?
out pretty well, because I just walked the site and it's drains look pretty good, but yeah, there was big ponding because of the silt covers. But we can't take those off until we have a lawn.
Can I make a comment?
Yeah, go ahead,
Yes.
Carl, sorry.
No, that's all right. So the silt covers have been removed in the two main drains. And because of the flooding, I mean, that resident that sent those pictures, I got them on Sunday night. And I was expecting the building to be flooded when I get in
Yeah,
this morning, but it wasn't. They didn't even come close to the doors. So they removed the silt covers today and cleaned up the sidewalks and the mulch that got washed in and so on and so forth. Unfortunately, with no grass, Animal Control is gonna have to maybe have those storm drains cleaned out without the silt covers before it gets passed over. So that has to be reiterated to the contractor. Because
Yeah.
otherwise, all the silt's gonna go into that drainage system, and next thing you know, the drainage system's not being worked. There are sumps in them, so it's very easy to get a vac truck in there and suck them out after the grass is planted, or the sod, I should say. But that's just something, food for thought for the future, that with the silt covers off, that drainage is gonna get filled up pretty quick with rain.
I can reiterate that, Carl.
Yeah, thank you, Carl, for the comment.
Yep,
You said it a lot better than I did, Carl, so thank you.
my pleasure.
Okay. All right, all right, Igley, moving on.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, everybody. All right, so moving on, the next item we have is just the budget report. So at the moment, we've got about $18.1 million paid out. We'll be changing this number out as soon as we get some final revisions to the pay apps that have been paid out, a reconciliation with the town. Putting us to about 90% of the contract paid at the moment. And the remaining contingency will go through in just a second here. But obviously the FF&E and expenses continue to be paid out on a monthly basis. Invoices will be presented shortly. And then as far as contingency, so these are the approved change orders. Not much has changed as of the last meeting. yeah, this is the same number from the last meeting. So total approved to date is 836, 725 and 72 cents of hard costs. And these are the pending hard costs from M. O'Connor. We've got some placeholders here in yellow for pricing that we're still waiting to receive from M. O'Connor. Not ready to present any of these today, any of these change orders. But just putting these here as placeholders, and we've got about 188,000 pending at the moment.
Okay.
Do they, Iglesias, do they have the paperwork that necessary to price these? Is there any delay in that?
So a lot of these do, Dick. Some of these we're actually just waiting on pricing from M. O'Connor on. I don't remember off the top of my head, but I believe the only one that we're waiting on is the manhole cover. Katie, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but that's the only thing that comes to mind. I haven't looked at the ASI log at the before the meeting.
Yeah, sorry, Igley, can you clarify we're waiting on the contractor for that? Or you're waiting on the design
So,
team?
the question was just, yeah, from the design side, do they have everything they need to price these out?
So I know that we did give some commentary back. I honestly, I thought that there was some pricing related to that. I believe it's in MOCC's court that they were working on it.
So for all these items that Igley has highlighted in yellow, ASIs have been, architectural supplemental instruction has been issued to the contractor.
Let's see, the signage, yes, fire department drive out, yes, no canopy, scupper change, no. Retaining wall phase, yes. Added gravel loam, yes. Trees, yes. Manhole cover, it was a direction in text. Level spreader, yep, that was issued. Added signage, yes. And the flaring of the curb at Springdale, I do want to follow up with Carl tomorrow at the OAC to make sure that we're giving the right direction. So I would say no to that last one either, because I want to make sure that we're amending that.
The manhole cover's already been dropped.
Great. Thank you, Carl. I thought I had heard that work had been done, so I'm not positive on the pricing on that component.
And the level spreader, it's done to spec. Unless they're gonna charge, they did a little bit of rock work.
Okay.
But as you know, Katie, they have to keep the pipes exposed.
Correct. One of the pipes needs to be exposed. The other one can be buried.
Well, you might want to give them direction because there's
Okay.
two exposed now.
So Katie, question then for you. So they don't have anything for the north canopy scupper changes, which Colliers has a placeholder of $10,000 in for. You are still working on the paperwork in order to give to M. O'Connor?
Correct. I would say the order of magnitude is much lower than that. I know I have mentioned to you, I owe you some information. What we're looking for here is to take that gutter and actually propose a rain chain and a rain barrel. So it's something that's not connected to, there's no underground drainage in that area. That's something that would be in lieu of a really robust gutter to make sure that it is not a nuisance and not looking like an attraction for someone to damage.
So I know, Katie, we've been discussing this for quite a while. So my question is when can you get this information out to the contractor?
I cannot promise it this evening. I can promise it by the end of day tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
All right, great. So that's it as far as pending hard costs. Just moving to the approved soft costs. So at the moment, we've got about 566,000 approved in soft costs. And we did actually update, sorry, I don't have this highlighted, but the site furniture, we did get an updated quote below the not to exceed number. This is the final number for that quote. And we'll review some of those finishes a little bit later on in the presentation, but this is the number for that quote. And then as far as pending soft costs, we put some placeholders here for some of the open items that we've been discussing, you know, in previous meetings and in meetings with the town and the contractor. Don't have finalized pricing on the yellow items, but on the blue item, we do have some pricing for the FF&E items. I know, Mark, you sent over some questions on that quote, so I'm not sure if we want to present that for approval today, because I know we do need to clarify some of those with WB Mason. So, but I did have this here as a actual number that we got from them.
So just to review, okay, so this is furniture in the pavilion.
Correct, yeah, so
Okay,
it's furniture in the
so-
pavilion, some additional chairs, some carts that they had included, and Trey, I know you were working with WB on this, so correct me if I'm missing anything, but
Yeah, the conference room
So-
table in Parks and Rec and the chairs for Parks and Rec.
So in addition to, I want to just go back to the pavilion furniture, extra pavilion furniture. I just want to ask some questions. The pavilion is designed to hold a certain amount of people. The pavilion was designed to hold, you know, a certain amount of tables and chairs to fit a certain amount of tables and chairs. A question I have is, I'm assuming that the original count of tables and chairs, which we procured, was what was designed to fit in there. So I'm asking the question, are we going to be able to fit more extra chairs and tables in there? Will the design accommodate it?
So,
Katie.
Yeah,
Yep.
Trey, I haven't heard of a quantity of additional chairs.
It's
what's
15
the
additional
ask?
chairs, so 80 total chairs.
So the occupancy of the space is roughly 100, but I'll double check that before I give you that number. So, if we currently have 80 chairs and you're talking about an additional plus 15.
Correct. Yeah.
So, yeah, the pavilions, it is an assembly space, and it's a posted space. And we can double check tomorrow, because I know when you walk in the room, there is an assembly sign and it lists the maximum occupancy of the room. I believe it's just under 100. Dick, I think the extra chairs would likely only be used in a kind of a lecture style. You know, if you want to set up chairs in rows up against the millwork, because I believe the chairs were all basically, the quantity is aligned with the tables. Trey, feel free to, maybe, I'm not sure if you've had those conversations, but I think that's the only time that you would really be using additional chairs in that room, unless you're also getting a number of other tables.
I was told from Mark that he was expecting 75 chairs. I believe there's 60 in there now with tables. And the occupancy goes up when you have no tables.
Correct.
And that's based on the building departments when he certifies it. For once it's inspected from the building department, they issue a certification for the space.
Yeah, so Carl, we have 65 chairs currently. It would be 80 chairs total.
Yeah.
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 And Mark, yeah, I mean, from our conversations, it would be more of like a lecture thing, you
Yeah.
know, with the chair, the tables would probably be more or less out of there, and you know, we'd set up rows of chairs, for example.
Yeah, if I could just clarify though, Trey, on that, I don't think any tables were listed on that order, correct? It was just chairs.
Just chairs, no additional tables.
Right, and
Just
that's
chairs.
in our conversations, and I know Katie in one of the tours, yeah, so we were planning for be able to fit 75 people in that room. Obviously, if it goes above 75, you know, it would be at an alternate location or in the gym, is what we were talked about. But my concern is there's not the ability right now to fit 75 with tables, nor do we have tables and chairs for 75 people. We have tables and chairs for 60. The idea is, yes, we have a table and storage table and chair storage, and we should probably have a few extra chairs. The chairs upstairs do not match the community room. So yes, Janet and myself, when we looked at it, we were just surprised to see 60 when 75. That's why I thought, I assumed the original scope would have had 75, just because that was the number that had been talked about in the past.
So we're talking 15 chairs for 18,000?
There's also,
No.
No,
Wait a minute.
Dave.
No.
Yeah, so in the quote, it's 15 additional chairs, four office chairs, a office
Oh, all right. It's more
office
than that.
desk, a conference table, as well as 3 transportation carts, and then labor and delivery.
So
Okay.
yeah, just one question though, Trey. So the original scope, I think, had some of that was supposed to go in that second office in Parks and Rec. Is that not the case, that there was no furniture going in there?
I'm sorry, run that back by me, Mark.
So that second office in the Parks and Rec space,
Right.
we were told just have a table and chairs. It seems like this is being added to it, when I thought the original scope had something in that space, a table and chairs. Now, obviously, what's on that order, it says a $600 chairs. We do not need $600 chairs, or the conference table doesn't need to be the cost that it is. I think we need to, my suggestion, I think we need to relook at what's going into that office space. It literally, just a table
Okay.
and chairs, but it just seemed awful expensive for what I thought was originally already in the scope.
Yeah, and Katie,
Sorry, also Trey, there's already furniture in there, so is there going to be credit? Are we able to bring back that
yeah.
furniture and get credit?
Yes. So my conversation with W. Mason, they would bring the new stuff in. They would take the new stuff out, and then they'd issue the new the credit once they got the 2 desks setups that are already there. So then they would issue the credit once they've got their return product. So yes, to answer your question, Ruth. Back to you, Mark. What I think Jason did, and through all of this, was he was matching kind of what was upstairs in the conference room for tables, and I think that's why this price got to the magnitude that it's at. I'm happy to run back through it with you guys, and we could really, and he matched the already chairs that are in there in the office, so that's the reason they're $600 chairs, because they're the nicer chairs for your guys' offices, for example. But I'm happy to go back to the drawing board. That's not a problem. And we can trim the fat where it's needed.
so we were we were running under the original WB Mason quote that included desk, office chair, a whole fit out of that second office. So
Mhm.
we would be receiving a credit for that. Okay,
Correct.
and then and exchanging that for putting in just a conference table and 4 chairs.
Yep.
Does this 18,000, is this like a net number when you deduct the credits, or not?
Dick, I haven't received the credit price from him yet, because he hasn't picked up the goods, the 2 desk setups. Once he picks up the 2, he issues the credit. He's not going to issue a credit for stuff that he doesn't have.
Well, he should already know what the cost is, though. Right?
More or less, you're right, Carl. Yeah, and I can push him on that. Absolutely.
I would like to see a itemization of this 18,000 before we vote on it.
Yes.
Igley, you want to pull up the quote?
1 second. I can pull that up.
Yeah, I think the quote did itemize. I just think we should look
already
at
bought this.
a different option for, at least for the Park and Rec side. I mean, $6,400, I think we could.
Yeah, so the top 4 line items, more or less, is just for the Parks and Rec, the table, chairs,
Okay.
and then the bottom is the additional chairs for community room, and then install and delivery is at the bottom.
So we're basically 6422 is for the office. Is that right?
For the conference table and chairs, yeah.
Okay. And then there's the next bold number is the 10619. That's for
15 additional chairs
yeah,
and
and
then
the cart.
6
Okay,
carts.
and we got a little tariff action.
Yep.
Okay.
Can't get
Yep.
away from that guy. Sorry.
No, you can't. Okay.
Dave, I'm sure you're dealing with it on all your projects as well.
Yeah, no, and these numbers look pretty basic, so.
Yeah, okay,
right.
great, thank you. And but with this number, we can expect to come down once we receive the credit for the original office furniture.
100%, Dick. Yes.
Any expectation of how much that might be?
I don't know off the top of my head. I don't want to give you a number and shoot myself in the foot. I'll talk to Jason and get a rough order of magnitude. Maybe I can get it before tomorrow's OAC meeting and share it with you guys.
Okay,
Dick, I can't accommodate, I can't factor in travel or install or delivery, any of those additional fees. But in September, we came to you to present what the furniture package was at that time. And in the large package of things, it was, I think 1 or 2% over what the original allocation was. So me and Janice had worked through several different options of, you know, hey, we can adjust some things. Here's 3 different options of ways to, you know, slice some scope for that secondary office. We subtracting an office setup and swapping it for a table and 4 chairs. The the anticipated credit based on the pricing we got was $5,800.
okay,
So I will say that, you know, like anything, there's oftentimes a restocking fee. And there may be some, you know, some slight difference, but that was the number that we got when we had the pricing at that point. So we could, you know, make some recommendations so you could then evaluate it and then go forward with the furniture.
okay, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Katie.
Do we have an ETA on how long this stuff will take to get?
So the chairs are stock available. The table, he said, was 3 to 4 week lead time, and then the additional chairs for the conference room table, same lead time. So
Okay.
3 to 4 weeks, Dick.
Okay, thank you.
They're not the same chairs as the conference room upstairs, I hope.
No, they are not. They're the ones that match the Park and Rec's office chairs at currently, which are on casters.
Okay. So, question for the building committee. Do we want to make a vote and make a recommendation to the Board of Selectmen about additional furniture? This additional furniture.
I mean, I'm assuming you guys have gone through and looking at what you need. Fitting out of the building. You're not gonna do this for another decade, so get
Yeah,
it,
exactly.
get what you need.
Yeah. Ruth?
As long as Mark is happy with what's on here, I thought I understood from Mark that he wanted to relook at the stuff that was coming in to the conference room, or did I miss something?
Yeah, I think. Go ahead, Mark. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, I think we would probably, whatever the credit, you know, if we think the credit's going to be, I would at least like to make it similar to that. I don't think there's a need to go above what the credit will be. I just think there's probably an option that would reduce that total. I just don't, you know, it seems to me that it's a little high, but obviously if the committee feels differently, then obviously, you know, you can vote. But yeah, I just think for what Parks and Rec needs and what is offered, I just think there's, you know, we could relook at it, but it's up to the committee.
Well,
In terms of the tables, like, you know, looking at the community space, if I don't know in terms of layout, if Katie and Trey, you know, if we're not able to put more tables into that community room, then I guess there's no need to purchase tables. That was the only thing Jan and I had talked about, is to have a few extra tables. Right now, there are no extra tables. But if there's no ability to add any per fire code or per stand, you know, then maybe we don't order any more tables.
okay, so why don't we get the numbers buttoned up as to, and the furniture actually selected, and button up the number, and then we'll take this up again.
Yeah, I was just like, you need to get it ordered in order to move in, so.
Yeah, so, I mean, there's two ways we can do this, right? We could do a not to exceed, you vote for.
That was going to be my recommendation, Dick.
Yeah, let's do that. Then you need to fit this building out, so
Yeah, okay.
just move forward on it. I mean, that's my case. I'm looking at, we've talked about most of what's on this list. And I thought we voted on it, so it's just a matter of you get this stuff done.
Yeah, okay. If you could go back to the, that other, window there, Igley,
Okay, yeah, this one.
that one. So, I move that excuse me, I move that, we, make a recommendation, to the Board of Selectmen for additional FF&E items requested by Parks and Rec in the amount of $18,151.88. Is there a second?
Second,
Okay, I will, are you in favor, of the motion? David Billings,
yes,
Ruth Townsend,
Yes,
and I am as well. And I should put in a little provision on that. It should have been not to exceed.
Understood, Dick. Thank you.
Okay,
with a credit.
Yeah, the credit
Credits
will be
are coming.
its own
We'll bring
separate
it
thing,
down.
but yeah, we'll get it all together.
okay.
yeah, what about the rest of these items? I mean, we've talked about the signage and the waterproofing,
So the waterproofing, we actually did get a price on.
sheet wall, I mean,
But
either we should get them on or get them done. Or take them off and get them
Yeah.
done.
So we can present the waterproofing right now.
yeah, the waterproofing,
I thought we already talked about it. I thought we already voted on it.
You
That's the
did, but it
painting the
was
foundation.
19,000 and change, and it's been reduced to $3,800 by getting an independent quote.
So we've already recommended for approval to the Board of Selectmen a number of whatever it was, 11,000. So, this has come in under, so, that's a good thing, of course. That's great.
Yeah.
But we've already recommended for approval to the Board of Selectmen, so.
I'll move this
Okay.
up to the approved side. But yeah, the only reason why I had this here, just, if you didn't know if there was any further discussion on completing this work at the moment from the committee.
Just get it done.
The painting of the foundation?
Yes.
No, at 3,800, I mean, I think that's a reasonable price.
I agree. Not a problem. Okay. We
And
will,
that 3,800 also includes does that also include,
yeah,
painting the,
Yeah.
I can run you guys through that.
well,
So
you
we
don't
have-
need to, Igley, you don't have to get into the nits of it. I just want to point out that 3,800, in addition to the painting of the foundation, also included the painting of the, of that rooftop equipment.
Really?
Yes.
That actually sounds awfully cheap.
David, I agree.
My
When I said this
satisfaction.
number, I said sign
I'm
now.
I'm a little concerned it's too cheap, but okay.
We vetted it twice.
All right, then move on.
Okay.
They're gonna finger paint it. You don't mind that, do you?
However it works.
Igley, can I just add one point to this? Because I think it's in this topic. We've had a couple conversations at OACs about potentially adding in some AEDs in the building. And I just wasn't sure if it was something that you were tracking, and I'll be honest, I'm not sure who would be spearheading this in the sense of if it's being provided by the town or if it does want to go back to the contractor for installation. Mark, I'm not sure if you have an idea of where this should really be, who should be leading that effort.
Yeah,
I've been leading it with the Board of Health.
Okay, so
He's aware of it.
awesome. Thank you, Carl.
Okay.
Okay.
Is there any other questions on the pending soft costs?
Igley, just one thing, that monument sign I know is in the thing, I did give some option, but I think the committee will have to vote on just a
Yeah,
final option so we can.
I've got that in here, Mark. So
Okay.
that was actually one of the other items that we had a little bit further down the line, but yeah, we can talk about this now. So Mark, thank you so much for putting this together. Got some pricing for the community center monument signs. This wasn't in the link. I'm sorry, this was in the link. I don't know if you guys had a chance to review it. If there's any questions, please feel free to bring them up.
I could have sworn we voted on this. It was the
So
top,
Dave,
that one.
just yeah, so I think, I mean, personally I would recommend the top one without the logo, without the town seals, what the committee
Yeah.
talked about. We were just waiting for another company, but yeah, they give a high-end option and a low-end, but my recommendation would just be go with the one on the top, but yeah, we were just waiting for the other company to come back with a price.
Okay.
But I mean, we talked about this top row here, the one to the left without the seal.
Yep.
Mhm.
Right.
That's what the building committee
Voted on.
has
Yes.
yeah. So that's a go.
Okay.
Excuse me, a go. That's a recommendation for approval to the Board of Selectmen.
Yeah, I've worked with Maxar in the past on a couple other projects. They're a good company.
Thank you, Mark, for getting that together.
Yeah.
All right, great. Is there any other questions? Anything else to bring up? Okay. All right, and then, sorry, just wrapping this part of the budget up. So total contingency, about 20% remaining as a worst case scenario with all of these costs, should they be approved. Approved change orders to date is about 57% of the contingency, and our current total remaining contingency without these is 42%.
Okay.
Uh,
And then just a snippet of the percentage complete of the construction, about 98%, and then the project overall, about 92% complete. Okay, so next we have a invoice summary so for the month of May. So we've got our M. O'Connor invoice 23, Collier's Project Leaders invoice, Eagle Leasing for the past 2 months, because we didn't present one for the month of April. And then Ockers, their invoices for the final AV equipment and install. We've got a Verizon invoice in here, and FMA's invoice, and as well as WB Mason's invoice for install labor. David, I did have the original number that I have here for M. O'Connor invoice. I'm not sure how you want to go about reducing this number.
Well, I mean, you guys got it today, so you really haven't had much chance to vet it. I certainly don't agree with the landscaping numbers. I would, if we need another meeting in a week or so, but I mean, they know when we're meeting. They should have this ready.
I'm with you,
yeah.
David. David, I'm with you.
It's
I pushed them all week, and I get it today. It was frustrating.
Yeah. Yeah. So I would say that we take no action on it until it gets vetted and certified by the design team. And if we need a special meeting, they'll do a special meeting.
Okay. Understood. There any other questions on the rest of the invoices?
So just your on Collier's, the 21,154, that's the first month of your 2-month closeout,
Correct.
right? Okay.
Correct.
And I said, we're still not at substantial completion. I mean, I don't see them being done in July. I'm not even sure they're going to be substantially complete until July.
I'm
So
with
we
you,
need-
David.
Yeah, it's, we need to understand really how much time you guys are really putting in. I mean, we've been going lump sum but we need to understand what is driving all these hours.
Okay. I mean, yeah, it's just
So,
basically.
I mean, you don't have to answer it
Yeah,
now.
I'm not gonna go into it. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm not gonna go
we
into
just
that.
need to understand it and work with Dick.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, we got a project still going on, but we need to get these issues closed out and done, these change orders completed, you know, and so that we're stopped looking at stuff. Got to finish this building.
Agreed. We'll continue to push on this, David.
Very good.
Dick, I can get you a number from.
Yeah, so if we delete the M. O'Connor, and then we can make a recommendation for approval of the others.
Yeah, sorry, just give me 1 second. I don't have this pulled up, the live file. Sorry about that.
I don't know, maybe I do. Sent me all this stuff.
I appreciate your help. 1 second.
You take M. O'Connor's out, it's 73, 573.36
Thanks, Ray.
for approval.
Is $73,573.36.
That's correct, Dick. Yep.
Okay, I move that that we vote to recommend for approval to the Board of Selectmen payment of these invoices listed in the monthly invoice summary for May, with the exception of M. O'Connor. Deleting M. O'Connor puts the total amount recommended for approval at $73,573.36. Is there a second?
Second?
Okay, are you in favor? David,
Yes.
Ruth,
Yes.
and I'm yes as well.
Thank you all.
Everybody. Okay, so next we have just some of the site furniture color options. We've already gone through the pricing on this and got a quote for this, but we were asked to just get some finalized color selections to present to the committee.
Yeah, so the recommendation from the design team, so we've already approved the tables and chairs. The only thing that I want to ask the question, has anybody sat in one of these chairs? Do we know they're comfortable before we order them? Where can somebody sit in them if nobody has sat in one yet?
I don't know if anybody's sat in it yet, but I do
To
know
that
they happened
point.
to support the last time that I spoke with Landscape Forums, but I personally have not sat in them.
So
I don't know
Dick,
how I don't know how David and Ruth feel, but I think it'd be nice to have. I would hate to spend $19,000 on or whatever the chair amount is and sit in them and have everybody saying these are the most uncomfortable chairs we've ever sat in. I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
We can certainly set something up, Dick. I could reach out to Landscape Forums prior to us ordering everything. Maybe we set up a sit test. I know we do that for interior furniture.
Yeah.
I'm certain we could probably do something for the exterior as well.
Okay, and then the other component of this is I just wanted to. I know Luciana likes to look at the colors, but I just wanted to make sure that David, Ruth, that you're both on board with the recommendation from the architects. The color for the tables is moss. The color selection for the chairs is a mixture between mango and forest.
Not big on orange, but okay. I will defer to others.
David, that color mango is very similar to the color that the canopies are painted. So I know you've been around the building, so you've seen them. So it's a warmish yellow color.
Okay. Not thrilled on that one either, but
Do you have an opinion, Ruth?
oh, yeah,
I'm no expert, so I'm gonna go with the experts.
Okay.
my
All right.
opinion is ask COA. They're the ones that will have the most comments.
And certainly in terms of the chair test, I think it should be the COA.
Yeah, if you can get a sample to the site, that would be nice. If not, maybe tell us where the showroom is.
yeah, it's in Woburn.
Okay, that's a bit of a haul, but
Yeah.
yeah, let's see if again, someone from COA can participate because they will have the most comments and But I will say almost all outdoor furniture is uncomfortable.
Okay,
I usually say it's because it's designed by architects, but being an architect, I won't say that.
okay. Moving on there, Wrigley.
Okay, thank you very much, everybody. So, Dick, that is all I had on my end. The next item we have is just citizen comments. I don't know if there's anything that you'd want to bring up additionally. I think the items that I had on my list we have discussed.
Okay. I think we pretty much hit everything there. Are there any citizen comments?
Hi, my name is Kara Thorvaldson. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you, Carol.
Hi, I just wanted to bring up something on behalf of my client. You know, I represent the Stories, and I've been hearing from them about the lighting that is coming into their property. And I'm not sure what the status is with the programming or the shading is for that, but if the committee could provide us with some more information about how those lights are controlled and how they can be adjusted, and maybe get some kind of dialogue going with the Stories, it would be really helpful.
Okay, I think we can if Colliers, if you can fill us in on what's been done to date, what is planned to continue, what has not been completed to date, so at least we can fill Kara in, and then we can move on from there.
Yep.
Because
So,
there's still some things which have to be done, Kara, before it's we can kind of say to this to your clients that this is everything has been completed per design, and we're not there yet, unfortunately.
Oh, I understand. Yeah, that's why I would love to just hear where things stand and what else is planned, because it hasn't been very clear to me, so I'd appreciate any kind of clarification.
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, sure. So, Kara, the light house shields have been installed in that part of the property. At the moment, we're still working through lighting programming on the site side. So potentially the issues could go away once we finish up the programming. But at the moment, that's what's been done on that side.
Thank you. The other issue that the Stories had raised, and I know that you just discussed the tree replacement along the property line on 12 Whiting, and the budgeting for that, and the Stories had requested whether it would be possible to put a line of arbor vitae along the fence line there, and even as a cost-saving measure, had inquired whether it was possible, rather than replacing some of the hardwood trees of a certain caliper that had been taken down, to install those kind of evergreen shrubs as a border to mitigate the sound and the light and everything. And I wasn't sure, because I had brought that up with the town's council. I didn't know if that was something that had been brought to the building committee's attention, because she did say that the tree replacement issue was something to be discussed by the committee.
I think yes, we can discuss it. When a line of arborvitae's, trying to get an idea of how long a line of arborvitae's the Stories are proposing. I think maybe that's a starting point.
I mean, I can't answer that today, but is there a point of contact for somebody to have a conversation between the Stories and the contractors or the landscapers or the committee? Is there an opportunity to have that discussion?
Most definitely. I mean, that can be me.
Oh, that would be great.
Sure.
Okay.
And let me know how I can get my contact information if you don't have that yet. How I can get that to you.
I think I have it.
Or the Stories. I think we do. I've been on the emails on that, so.
Yeah. Okay. That would be great if we could
So
have
we're
it.
pretty good. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Dana could reach out to me and no question, I'd love to have a conversation with him.
That's great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other citizen comments? Okay, hearing none. What's future business recommendations? Next, is future meeting dates.
Next one.
David,
July.
Ruth, any conflicts for you on the 14th?
No conflicts. Do we need to have one earlier?
To be determined.
Okay.
Could we do one, say, in 2 weeks? The 23rd? I think we could get M. O'Connor's, and it would be quick. It would literally just probably be for invoice approval.
Should be able to do that. I'm away the week before, but yeah,
Would that be the 23rd?
yeah.
Yes,
Monday.
yep, Ruth.
Yeah, I can do that.
On the 23rd, 6:30.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be perfect. Yep.
6:30. Okay.
Again, I think it'd be a quick one, Dick, just more or less M. O'Connor's invoice. And
Okay.
I hope to have WB Mason stuff wrapped up and we could get that. Take care.
Okay. Now, it would be nice to hear we could figure out what's going on with the lawn and the site.
Yep.
And I'll keep the 14th in as well.
And then we keep the 14th, correct? Yep. Okay, good.
So that is all I had, Dick. On my end.
Okay, well, I think that covers our agenda. Thank you all for attending. And is there I move then that we adjourn this meeting. Is there a second?
Second,
Okay, are you in favor? David,
yes.
Ruth,
Yes.
and I am a yes as well. Thanks again.
All right, thanks,
Thank you.
everyone.
Everyone enjoy your
Thank you.
evening. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.